me that you want to live with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll talk about it inside.
I don't. I don't want to get out.
Do what now?
I don't want to get out.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to get out.
I'm sorry. You're a child and you don't get to make all the decisions. But you need to get out now, and it's time to come home. Okay?
What's the camera for?
Oh, don't worry about it. You need to come on. I'm sorry.
I don't want to get out.
I understand, but it's no longer visitation with your father, and it's time to come home. Okay? All right. We can talk about this. I'll listen to what you have to say, but there's no way that you can just roll up and everything's fine and you can just roll up and say, oh, I'm not going to get out of the truck. And this mama is not going to say, oh, okay, bye kid that I've raised for 14 years, see you later. I'm just not that way.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. How's everybody? This is the second time I've gone live today. I don't normally do this. And if you tune in regularly, I don't normally talk politics on this channel because my politics would get me kicked off in a heartbeat. But something just happened, and I think it's got massive potential change. I'm not making any claims, just for the record, for the YouTube record, for the whoever record. I'm simply stating what I saw with my own eyes. The sitting president of the United States, Donald Trump, just posted something to his TruthSocial network that is rather disturbing. I don't know what some of these words, or one of them, I don't know that I can even say on here. I'm not saying this is what it is. I'm just saying this is what I've seen. I'm having a little trouble getting I want to get the full picture. Let's see if I can change this on the fly. This is my cropping doesn't work right, but the president of the United States, Donald Trump, just retruthed something that another person had posted on TruthSocial. And this other person being the handle is LLIJH. I don't know who this person is, but as you can see, it says there is no hashtag Joe Biden. Oft in 2020, hashtag Biden clones, doubles, and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what you see. Hashtag Democrats don't know the difference. Again, I'm not making any claims other than what I see. I'm wondering if everybody else is thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. Is President Trump saying, I mean, we've joked about this for years. I've always joked that there's been like 3 Joe Bidens or 5 Joe Bidens. I mean, the guy's been in office for 50 years. He was a senator from, a lot of people don't know this. So I'm just going to go through some of the basics. He was a senator from Maryland for years and years and years. A lot of young adults don't even realize that Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States under Barack Obama for 8 years. In the past, if a VP ran with somebody and their term were up, then the VP would run in his place after the 4 or 8 years. The only other notable exception in my lifetime that I personally watched was Dan Quayle, who was the vice president for Reagan in the 80s. Bush. I mean, he was vice president for Bush Senior. And anyways, regardless of what you think about President Trump, there's a lot of things he's done and said that I really, really like. And there's quite a few things that I do not like, which is the reason I don't talk politics, because if I did talk it on this channel would most definitely get taken down. But regardless of what you think of the sitting president, this has a lot of implications. I don't know how much of the news my audience tends to watch. I watch a lot of it. I'm pretty up to speed on most of it. But Donald Trump has been hammering down on this whole auto pin thing. An auto pin is a machine that, think of it as a real fancy, expensive rubber stamp where, if you're the boss, of a big corporation and you're sending out 1,000 paychecks every other week, there's no way that the boss can physically write his signature on every single check, which is required by various bank laws. And so if you've worked for a big corporation, you've seen, your paycheck is always signed by the treasurer or whoever of the company, but it's always just basically the same thing as a rubber stamp or an auto pin. Well, Joe Biden signed, much like President Trump and President Obama before him, signed a lot of executive orders with the auto pin. And Trump has been making a big, big stink for several weeks, if not months, probably since he got into office, about the auto pin. In fact, there's pictures floating around. You can find Trump has actually got pictures of the word auto pin and fake auto pin up on the wall in the Oval Office. And from the best I can tell, his argument is anything that was signed by auto pin as far as executive orders is basically null and void. And he's been hammering down on this, and the implications of this is everything that Joe Biden during his presidency signed as far as executive orders means that they're null and void. I did look this up, and I think this could get really, really nasty, because what about the nomination that I think it was Justice Brown of the Supreme Court? I'm pretty sure Biden was the one that nominated her. And if he nominated her, and I'm sure there's paperwork that goes along with that requires an auto pin, I'm sure Trump, I would assume he's wanting, he's had a lot of trouble with all these tariffs and all these different judges, and they're getting appealed, getting his tariffs taken off, and then tariffs put it back on, and then higher courts overriding him. He's doing what, whether you like it or not, he's a bull in a china closet, and he pushes his weight around with all different sitting levels of judges. He pushes his weight around with Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank that supposedly has complete autonomy from any of the executive or any of the levels, the branches of the federal government, whether the executive, the judicial, or the Congress. But this right here there's an implication. Again, I'm not making any claims other than what I've seen. What do you think? What do you think that says? What does that say to you? There is no Joe Biden. Oft in 2020, Biden clones, doubles, and robotic engineered soulless mindless entities are what you see. Democrats don't know the difference. Again, I've been joking about this for years, that there's been like 3 or 4 different Bidens. You can find different pictures of Biden where he's one of his earlobes is attached, and then his earlobes isn't attached. I mean, hell, even Rush Limbaugh back 15, 20 years ago was always making jokes about Joe Biden and his hair implants. He called him Plugs Biden. And of course, I mean, Rush died. I listened to Rush for years as a child. He died back in 2021, but man, what if this is actually true? And if it's not true, what are the implications that Trump himself, the current sitting president, would repost something like this? Are there lizard people that actually rule us? Are the are the caves inside the moon about to open up and reveal themselves to the Earth? Are the Druids right? Are the Nephilim coming out of their caves and about to squash us like the insignificant bugs that we are? I don't know what do you think? I posted this on my Facebook, and a friend of mine, I had posted this screenshot, and then I said, holy crap, this is an actual post, because this is the land of AI, the times of AI. We don't know. It's hard to tell, even for me, what's real, what's not. I usually have a pretty good idea, but as wild as Trump is and the shit that comes out of that guy's mouth, you never know. In the old days when I was growing up, if something was a joke and it obviously looked like a joke, something crazy that someone said, well, the president said this, it was real easy to tell the joke, because the presidents have always sounded presidential. But then here along comes Trump, and the shit that comes out of that guy's mouth doesn't fit what used to be what we would always call presidential. And now, so every time I see something wild, such as this one, when I first saw this on Twitter, I thought, there's no way. This has got to be a joke. But I had to check because, crazy old Trump. And I looked, and lo and behold, he really posted it. But I posted the screenshot and then a link to his TruthSocial so that people that are like me, they want to double check as much as they can, click on it, find it for themselves. Well, she clicked on it and took a screenshot and said it's been taken down. So as of the last 15 minutes, I haven't checked it in again because I've been on here, but let me know in the chat if y'all found it. It may have been taken down. I can pull it up here, but I'm just not very good at it. But I'll just pull it up real quick on my phone. Let's just see. I'm on TruthSocial on my phone, and I haven't refreshed it yet. I don't know if the camera will pick this up or not. I have no idea if y'all can see that. That is the person, the LLIJH, whatever handle that is, that posted the original, of which Donald Trump retruthed. I'm going to hit back. That is what I'm seeing. And again, I haven't refreshed it yet. Just going to move it around so y'all can see that I'm not making this up. I have no idea if y'all can see that or not. But that is the handle of @RealDonaldTrump. And just, okay, I haven't hearted it yet. I'm going to heart it and I'll see what happens. 3.94K is the number of hearts that's on it. I don't know. See if I can do it. There, I put a heart next to it. Now I'm going to see if I refresh it. Here, I'll refresh it. Okay, it's still there. Now it's got 7.25 thousand. She said, that friend of mine, she said she couldn't get it to come up. It's coming up on my end. What do y'all think? I don't know, Dannon. And by the way, Dannon, my sincere condolences for your mom. I'm truly sorry to hear that. Y'all let me know what y'all find on your end. Look at what's going on with Diddy. That was somehow hidden for years. Yeah, for those that don't know, President Trump was asked by, of all people, a relatively friendly source, Ducey's son, what's his name? I remember his dad, Peter Ducey, when I was a kid. His son, I forgot his name. He asked him about Diddy, and he said something like, Mr. President, if you hadn't noticed, or Diddy's in trouble, big trouble, would you consider pardoning him? And he, in a roundabout way, said he might. And there's lots and lots and lots of old pictures and video of the president with Diddy. I have no idea. Trump knows lots of stuff. His uncle John Trump was in the know of a lot of things. Yes. And Donald Trump has talked about his uncle John. He was a professor at MIT or I don't remember. He was a big time professor. If I'm not mistaken, John Trump, his uncle, somehow wound up with a lot of the. I could be mistaken. You have to double check it. If I remember me correctly, he wound up with a lot of the patents of Nikola Tesla when Tesla mysteriously died. Laura Loomer tweeted about it too. Yeah, Laura Loomer, she's tweeting some really crazy stuff. She just retweeted, and I've got a screenshot of that as well. She said that, again, I'm just paraphrasing, something along the lines of prepare for 911 again or something like that. What does that mean? Why would Laura Loomer say something like that? You know, it's one thing for a nobody like me to tweet something like that, because I tweet crazy shit all the time. But she claims to be, she's not in the comedy realm. She claims to be, you know, legitimate. What does she mean by prepare for another 911? And again, I'm being careful with my words. Okay, it was MIT. Are we forgetting how dishonest Trump is? The man was buddy with Epstein, and Republicans swept it under the rug. I'm not forgetting it. I don't know who we is, but I'm not forgetting it. There's loads of pictures of those two guys together. I don't know. Maybe Trump was on the Lolita Express. I don't know. RFK Jr., he came out publicly before the election and announced, yeah, I was on the Lolita Express, 3 or 4 times. He got elected. Once his nomination went through, he got, elected. Okay, got to that one. The current president believed an obvious Photoshop can barely tell the truth. All right, we get it. You don't like Trump. Okay, I'm looking for objective stuff here. I mean, anybody that just roots one way or the other, no matter what, I don't really give them any credence. It doesn't really mean anything to me. And you're down for believing Trump makes everything up. He can say he made grass himself and you'd believe it. I guess I missed something, a different post that I said, Cortland, this is literally so stupidly made up. It's like just pure stupidity. I don't know. That's not the point. It may be pure stupidity, but the sitting president posted it and it's still up. Even if it's complete bogus, dumb, made up AI, that you very well could be right. But why would the president of the United States, the sitting current president, repost this? Oh, you're the Parker guy. Yes, I'm Parker's dad. Please don't tell me you're conservative. I was raised conservative. I don't consider myself conservative. But I'm certainly not a full-blown leftist communist either. Remember that video of Biden on Air Force One? He had a big double chin. It looks like a mask, the one where Anthony Blinken was standing by him, keeping watch. Yes. And it's funny you bring that up, and I have to be very, very, very careful what I say about this, Tori, because Trump basically, there's a picture of him and, what's his name? His Treasury Secretary. I forget his name. Basically making the same pose. It's very, very odd, very strange. Didn't mean to come across that way. I'm an independent. I don't like Democrats either. Many hypocrites. Okay, well, that's fine. He's great. Seen your post last night. Hope things are good. They're better. It I got in contact with some old contacts, and yeah, it's better. I'm not in the clear yet, but I'm also learning to just I've got to quit freaking out, and I got to quit. Maybe I whine too much. Trump probably reposted it because he knew that some far gone people would believe it. Maybe so. But again, what are the implications of it? Even if it's complete bogus, totally made up, it very well could be. I have no idea. I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm kind of like agnostic when it comes to politics anymore because I don't believe any of them. Like any of them. There's like I'm an old Ron Paul guy, so I mean, hence the tattoo. I love Ron Paul. I think he was by far the most, whether you agreed with him or disagreed with him, he was the most consistent for like 30 years. Here we go. Biden was first elected in 1972. That is 5 years before I was born. I'm 48. This country needs to stop reelecting these career politicians for decades. Amen. I see all the politicians in this same elite group. They are. It's like George Carlin famously said, rest in peace, good sir. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. This news idea you're doing is good. Keep it up. Get better equipment. Okay, thanks. Thing about equipment, it costs money. If I, again, like I said earlier today when I went live talking about the red pill grifters, if I got paid like a significant amount and I wasn't going to get just totally trashed and censored and this whole channel taken down, I'd do this every day. I enjoy doing it. It's fun. All right, Holly Nash. I just checked. Trump did in fact post that. Yeah, he did. Again, that's why I'm putting it up there, because I don't, as weird as the censorship is, I don't want to be accused of spread, and I don't want to intentionally spread misinformation. Occasionally, we've all done it. I mean, even the most trusted news sources, they have retractions all the time if they get something wrong. If I'm wrong about something, I'm happy to admit it. And I wouldn't normally talk about something this wild and accept the fact it is so wild. Okay, I just saw it on his TruthSocial, Kayla Leverett. That's disturbing, and I wish Trump can go to jail. He's a very dangerous president. I'm independent, and I wish we can turn the clock back and save. Maybe he will. He's technically been arrested, but then again, I've been arrested too, family court. The fact that you're questioning a QAnon conspiracy is frightening. From Marie. Why would I not question something for QAnon or anybody for that matter? I question everything. That's literally another tattoo on my arm. It says question everything. I don't believe anything anybody says, pretty much, especially with AI these days. They're saying that Ketanji Brown Jackson appointment by Biden will be contested. Okay, I haven't seen that, but that doesn't surprise me. And to change something like the Supreme Court up around that the implications of that are huge. Remember what happened when, I think it's towards the end of Trump's first term, if I'm not mistaken, Roe v. Wade was just suddenly out of the blue overturned. Well, does it get re-overturned? I don't know. But I'll still support you, Caleb Leverett. Keep up the good work, bro. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Again, I don't claim to have all the answers. I'm asking. I post a lot of crap that I've come across that I don't see in the mainstream, and the only reason I'm posting this is because the man himself, love him or hate him, he posted it. I don't have no idea if it's true, just what he says. Holly Nash, I watched your videos years ago. I watched your channel. I trust very few, but I know you're honest. I try to be. I'm not saying I've never told a little white lie like Forrest Gump, but I get called a lot of things, but a liar usually isn't one of them. Yeah, I first saw his videos when I was like 9. So you're still early 20s. So what do y'all think? Well, is this? I'm going to do a refresh and see if it's see if it's still up on there. Let's see. Refresh. It's still up. 8,000 likes now. Yeah, as far as I can tell, it's still up. Let's say this is true. What if let's just go down that branch. There's all we can take different rabbit holes and different whys down the Alice in Wonderland adventure that is the American government. Let's say this is true. Not saying it is, but let's just pretend. What if that whole time that the things that we used to just joke about, I had my suspicions, but we used to just joke about it. What if it was true? What if Joe Biden actually was offed? I'm trying to choose my words carefully. In 2020, who did it? Did it happen before the 2020 election or after the 2020 election? When Trump was debating in 2020 on stage, was he debating him? Was that a robot? I don't know. The word AI never really wasn't on the tip of most people's tongues back then during COVIDs. We back when we saw those dancing nurses, but then 2021 came around and 22 and COVID started, going away, and suddenly everyone just kind of forgot about it. And then all of a sudden AI just came onto the scene. South Park made an entire episode. It's called something about Chat GBT. Nobody had ever heard of it. And then South Park, of course, they're famous for making episodes in like a week. They can write the script, make it, and produce it and be on Comedy Central in a week. And they've done that for like pretty much their whole lives. They've been on the air for like 28 years or something. God bless them. I love South Park boys. But they made that Chat GBT episode, and it just out of the blue, and all of a sudden now AI is everywhere. We've all seen the funny memes or videos that the AI's come up with. But what if all those dancing nurses was all fake? What if AI was already a thing? It just wasn't available and well known to us. What if the whole presidency of Joe Biden, let's just pretend, I'm not saying it was, but what if it was real? Or as in the story being real, being Joe Biden being passed on since 2020. What does that mean going forward? There's always people accusing other people of election interference, and people one side or the other claiming the other side stole the election. It's happened pretty much since George Bush beat the old VP. What was his name? Clinton's VP. I can't believe I can't. It's like forgetting one of my own kids' names. South Park made a video. Man, Bear, Pig. What's his name? Help me out here. Al Gore. Yeah. This has been going on in my lifetime since George Bush Jr. beat Al Gore. For the youngins that weren't around back then in the 2000 election, the year before 9/11, there's this thing called the hanging chads. And back then, they didn't have electronic voting booths. They had paper ballots, and you push it in there and you'd punch a little puncher through it, and it would punch the hole in the paper. And on the back of the paper is the piece of paper that was used to be the hole, and that was called a chad. And that hanging chad, they said, was what messed up the count. And if you go back and look, it was in Broward County, Florida. That's where the big focus was for several days. Because in the old days, we all knew who was president before we went to sleep. 2000 hit, the world started going to shit, and that was the beginning of my opinion, of the end. Music started going to shit. Television was going to shit. Movies were going to shit. When you compare the debates from 2020 to 2024, Biden looks and sounds like a different person, maybe just being rapid aging. I agree. Like, they don't even look like, I understand aging. I mean, I'm getting old too, but they don't even look like the same people to me. The public is always behind on the truth. Yep. They're way ahead of us. Al Gore actually probably won, but the NWO Bushies had to be in power. Probably. And I don't like either one of them. I never did. Bush won Florida by 537 votes. Yeah, I don't remember. Thanks. I didn't remember. I knew it was close. I couldn't remember. Oh, Tori, I see what you post. See, that's one of those words that I don't know that I can even say on here. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. But I if you're watching the live chat, I can't put it up because I really don't want to get my channel zapped, but that's, yeah. Do you like Trump? Do you like Jones? Do you like Lincoln? Do you like Garfield? What does that even mean? I mean, that's just, that's that basic talk where I just it doesn't do it for me. I can't stand people who just completely make their entire identities about one party or the other, and they support them no matter what. It doesn't matter which party is, Democrat or Republican or even the Libertarian. I'm a known libertarian for years, and I can't stand I left the modern Libertarian Party because they're such clowns. But I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. There is no Joe Biden. He was off in 2020. Maybe he was. What do y'all think? I'm trying to think of all the legislation that was passed that I hadn't mentioned already that would totally get undermined or reversed. See, one thing about the current administration that drives me nuts is this whole Palantir thing. I mean, who wants to live in the way they do the social credit store in China? I don't. It's just as bad in UK. Cameras everywhere, social credit score. You say the wrong thing, you have the wrong opinion of the wrong group of people. You exercise your First Amendment right and criticize whoever the hell you want as long as you're not threatening anybody, and you can't get on a plane. Hell, it's already happening. I've been denied a passport since 2018 when my last passport expired. I tried to go see Sade in UK, couldn't go. Why? Because I'm in the system. Because of I'm a deadbeat dad, of course. I deserve to not be able to leave the country because I'm at the family court, which is completely outside of the U.S. Constitution. Believe it or not, it shouldn't be, but it is. Said I was a deadbeat dad. To this day, I still can't get a passport. I still can't get on a plane and fly outside of these borders. And I think it's just going to get worse. But now Trump is getting Palantir on board, handing Palantir the keys to all of our information. Trump's announced himself, we got billions of dollars coming to be invested in this country. That sounds great. And maybe it is. If he's honest, it is. I mean, if it's just honest work. But what if these billions or trillions of dollars that are come in are to hire massive amounts of crews to install cameras on every street corner in every town in every county in the continental United States? That's going to record your face everywhere you go. And if you say the wrong thing, what if your a bank account gets frozen? They would never freeze a bank account. Like, shit, I've had my bank account froze twice. Once in 2013 or 14, right after the Parker movie happened, which was it was an unrelated thing. I was part of believe it or not, a murder investigation. I wasn't directly involved, but the person who was a relative of the person got investigated, and she and I had been talking, and so therefore they froze my bank account. Weird stuff. And then fast forward to 2017, I won custody of Blaine in family court, and on July 21st of 2017, kept waiting on the paperwork to get done. Never got done. 2 weeks before Christmas 2017, they froze my bank account. Said, you're a deadbeat dad. You got behind on child support. I'm like, what do you mean I'm to buy? He lives with me now. She owes me child support. Doesn't matter. Their paperwork got lost and backed up and screwed up, but that's not their fault, of course. I don't know, man. This is getting bad. We already have no fly. Yeah, there's that's I better watch my word. That terrible person, Kristi Noem, I'll just leave it at that. That rubber-faced Homeland Security Secretary, out of the blue, says if you don't have the little star on your driver's license, I forget what they call it, you can no longer fly without it. Yeah, you got to either have that or a passport. But unless you have a passport or that little star, I forget what it's called. If y'all remember it, let me know in the chat. I've got it. I don't know if I wished I did or didn't, but I've had it for years. I was like, whatever. You already know who I am. So I can fly to any of the states. I just can't fly out. But if you don't have that little star, isn't that weird to have a star? You can't fly. Patriot Act was a product of 9/11 as control disguised as safety. Yep. That's a Bush era thing. Bush Jr. They've already begun that. My town has license plate cameras. I've noticed them going up. Have you seen them? In the big cities, yes. The red light cameras, yeah. I've also seen, because UK has had this for quite a lot longer, several more years than we have. I've also seen the videos of these patriots that are taking sawzalls to these cameras, putting them in the dirt. Flock cameras are in every town now. Wait until the lockdown and you travel outside your area. You mean your 15-minute city? Yeah, there you go. The real ID. Yeah. If you don't have, according to that blankety blank rubber-faced Kristi Noem, if you don't have the real ID star in your papers, you can't travel on an airplane. Real ID is another level of patriot. Yep. And Christy Noam doing her weird. Golly, I wished I could talk freely. I just can't. Her weird ritual at that weird wall. I'll just say that. Hello, Garth Brooks. Speaking of Garth Brooks, have y'all heard the conspiracy theory about Garth Brooks? There's a conspiracy theory. It's just a theory, not a fact. But he was like huge when I was in like junior high, and he did all these world travels and these world tours. And every tour that he went to, there is a documented unsolved murder case. And a lot of people think that he is a serial killer. Bush basically destroyed the Republican Party. Yep. Yep. I mean, to be fair, it's been coming a long time, though. It's been coming a long time. Ronnie Reagan, he's a great speaker, but he's a gun control advocate. He is the one that introduced no fault divorce. He's not blameless. Her commercials on TV freak me out. Kind of dystopian. Christy Nones, ugh. Y'all know she wrote a book about offing her own dog. And I know that's a common practice in big ranches. Sometimes you just have to do, but I don't know the full story. But she's also a known cheater on her cuck husband. She was banging her personal trainer or something like that. Maybe it was a campaign manager. I don't remember, but it's very well known that she is she just porks outside of her marriage. No theories. It was heavy. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Penalty up. Let's talk about Pete Weber. Who's Pete Weber? I don't know. I've brought people on and I'm always hesitant. I don't recognize you. Girth, have you been on here? I don't recognize your name. Maybe you changed your name. I hesitate to get someone on here that'll come on and say something to get me canned. I don't know. Maybe I will. I just still can't believe that POTUS posted what he posted. I don't know, Girth, you want to get on? Are you gonna behave yourself, or if I have to dump you off, I'll dump you off. I don't have a lot of people here today. All right, let's just do it. Normally, I'd just send it privately, but I don't know how to even get a hold of it. I'm just gonna stick. You've interviewed Chris Hansen. Okay, fair enough. All right, well, let me get you on here. Let's see. Invite guest. Copy. All right, I'm just going to put it in the chat since there's not a lot of people. If you're anybody other than Girth Brooks, I'm not going to bring you on. But Girth, I'm putting it in the chat now. That's only for Girth Brooks. That's not for anybody else. Oh, the inevitable. Y'all are funny. Garth Brooks has interviewed Chris Hansen. I never knew anything. I had never even heard of Chris Hansen until South Park made a whole entire episode about him, and it was hilarious. It was even funnier once I figured out who he was. All right, waiting just a minute on Girth Brooks. Let me know if you got. I still don't see in the chat or see in the green room. Trump is the best president we ever had. You think so? He's certainly one of the most consequential ones. I just don't know that I trust him. But I don't trust anybody. That's why I'm single. Drop StreamYard again. Okay. Let's see. Command. All right, try that. Oh, there. Maybe the other one didn't. I don't know why it says other one said a discount code. All right, there. It's in there now. Again, this is only for Girth Brooks. Oh, I saw that. Tori, speaking of Chris Hansen, you need to look at Alex Rosen's post today. I saw that. Chris Hansen is the guy that Alex Rosen is the guy that he hunts down pedos and films them, and this dude shit himself. It was glorious. There you are.
What's up, brother?
Hello, Mr. Brooks.
Were you just touching on Alex Rosen and some of the other predator catchers?
Yes.
Right
Tori just posted about that. I hesitate to talk about that on this platform because of the obvious implications if we say the wrong thing. But I'm pleasantly surprised there's more than just Tori and I that even know who Alex Rosen is. Again, I just learned about who he was just probably, I don't know, a few months ago. But yeah, that was hilarious.
Well, you know what's interesting is so I if you look at you guys will probably know him, or you would maybe. It's a gentleman that goes by the Lab on this panel, or not on this panel. I'm sorry, but on YouTube, like he does his own shows and what have you. He's got his own channel, and he and I interviewed Chris Hansen about a year and a half ago, and and that was right when kind of the new age of predator catching was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a lot to say. Like Chris Hansen had a lot to say about it, and like how like some of it is useful, some of it's not. And he came up with the term citizen journalist is what we were. But yeah, I found that pretty interesting.
He came up with Alex Rosen?
No, Alex Rosen was one of the citizen journalists.
Oh, okay. They can't call them pedo catchers. They have to call themselves citizen journalists.
Well, I mean, that's what they prefer to be called.
Well, I mean, essentially that's what they're doing. They literally document the tracking of them, where they trick them into meeting 8-year-old girls or whatever, and
they ain't friggin' shit. I mean, honestly, I mean, yeah, if you want to call it getting tricked, but if you get tricked into some shit like that, I mean, you're a pedophile.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Alex is great. I like watching him. I assume you would know a lot more about. All I know about Chris Hansen is that he used to bust pedos, but educate me. I don't know. I didn't watch him back when he was popular, so tell me about him.
Well, he's an 8-time Emmy winner. He crushed NBC for years and years. Like that was the most popular show on television. You could go across any channel, and that was what people were watching on like a Thursday night. Like they had it locked down or whatever. But yeah, he won 8 Emmys, and they canceled his show because they had one bust out in down in Texas. And the guy that they busted was a district attorney, and he killed himself instead of like getting arrested. And Chris's show and yeah, and Chris's all his show and everything was like out on his property, like as he blew his brains out, like on the property.
Okay, that explains why South Park made that episode then.
Yeah.
Are you
I don't know about the South Park episode.
okay?
I'd love for
Well,
you to tell me about it.
I'll tell you from my end. I didn't know my knowledge of pop culture is between like 2000 and 2018 is pretty. I was raising a bunch of kids and divorced and all that. I don't know a whole. I didn't keep up with a lot, but now it makes a lot of sense. I remember I raised my kids on South Park, and they've got hundreds of episodes, and so that one came up in the episode. He's Chris Hansen's doing this show, and he's bringing in all these offenders, we'll call them, and all of a sudden they just start mass offing themselves. You know how South Park, they exaggerate and they got brains and guts, and basically the whole entire audience wound up just offing themselves.
Oh, I do remember how that played out. Yeah. Well, obviously it wasn't like that, but yeah.
I'll have to go find the Rumble version of that, of Chris Hansen having his whole camera crew or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that. I mean, honestly, Chris Hansen goes way deeper than that. I mean, most people don't know, but he covered Columbine. He covered.
Really?
Yeah, dude. This dude was all over the scene. He covered White Boy Rick out in Detroit. That was his first like real case ever, which became a movie. Yeah, he's a really good journalist.
See, I remember Columbine. As far as I remember, that was the very first mass school shooting ever. I mean, kids nowadays, there's grown adults since then that had grown up with that not being the norm. But I don't know how old you are, but when I was a kid and even a young adult, there is no such thing. And when Columbine hit, I think that was 1999. That was the year Parker was born. And that was like a big, rare breaking news deal. Now,
Yeah.
that's just everyday life.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of South Park being born too. Like the people that were around that had a lot to do with, or like South Park affected them very deeply, or something like that.
Well, they were around I was first married in 96, and then remarried in 97. They came out at the end of 96 or first of 97. So they were around a year or two before even Columbine happened. It happened in 99, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Do you mind if I smoke on your channel? Is it okay?
Say it again. You broke up.
Do you mind if I smoke on your channel? Is that okay?
I don't care.
All
I don't know what YouTube's rules about. I guess we can find out.
You're good.
Okay, no, knock yourself out. Oh, what made you want to? There's a lot of going on in the chat, and I got distracted. What made you want to get? What were you wanting to talk about in the first place? I forgot.
Shit, man, I forgot too. Now that you say something about it, but I think I was bringing up. Oh, I think I brought up Pete Weber. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, I've not heard of Pete Weber. Who is he?
So Pete Weber is the greatest bowler ever, and that's not debatable. But he's a little tiny man, just like me, and he wore sunglasses while he was bowling. And he went up and he bowls this strike like for his fifth title, to make sure that he was like the Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan of bowling. And he just had the most famous speech of all time. And I don't know why, but I was dropping across your channel and you said something that was similar to it. And I was like, wow, okay. But anyways, he throws this strike and he goes, something, and then whoever you think you are, I am. And he meant to say something totally different. And yeah, it was just beautiful. It was the biggest work of art of all time in terms of speeches post winning a fucking national title or whatever. But yeah, man, I don't even know why I'm here. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never heard of Pete Weber. Heard of Bobby Fischer, but
It's kind of similar. It would be like if Bobby Fischer like splashed the fucking table after he was done you know, taking someone's queen.
Okay. How did that come up? I'm curious, what did I say that made you remind you of his speech?
I
Did I
did.
say it tonight?
Yeah, it was. It was earlier. I don't even know what it was. I really can't tell you, man. And
Have
it's
you been
probably
drinking?
no. Yeah, no. I'm actually 64 days sober, so no, I'm not. But
Congratulations. Hell yeah. That's what I want to hear. Well, we can talk about that since I got you. What made you want to quit drinking?
uh, bills.
What made you start drinking?
Um, shit. What made me start drinking? I mean, that traces back to when I was 6 years old, man.
Trauma? Daddy problem? Daddy issues?
No, nothing like that, man. It was like my sister like telling me that I was too small and like you know, shit like that, and I would get made fun of by my siblings. It's called there's actually a term for it, but I had a forensic, not a forensic, but criminal psychosis therapist helped me with trace it back to when I was 6 years old. But it was just my siblings telling me that I was lesser than.
So that's when the trauma started, but when did the drinking actually start? I mean, you weren't drinking at 6 years old, surely.
No, fuck no. I waited till I was 14. You know, that, that's supposed to be kind of a joke. What the fuck?
Yeah, well, I get it, but
Yeah.
how long do you consider yourself to have been a boozer, an alcoholic? How many
Uh,
years?
I I was it was problematic when I was 25.
So about 10 years, roughly.
Yeah.
So I assume you're what, 26 now?
No, I'm 42 years old.
Okay, well, I can't see. I'm just trying to do math. You're 42, 50 something days sober, but it was problematic at 24. So did you drink plum till you're in your early 40s?
Yes, I did. I have a tremendous failure and a tremendous success story. Which one would you like to hear?
I'm all ears. I like talking about this because nobody hates alcohol and alcoholics more than me.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. The biggest thing that came out, I was hanging out with my kid this weekend, and the biggest thing that came out is that I told him was, you make your own luck. Um, and I'm not trying to tell you that I'm a lucky person. It is quite the other side. However, I did catch lightning in a bottle. Um, so whereas the pandemic hit everybody terribly, I was the first person in the United States to have an FDA approved COVID testing kit, and yeah, I sold over 50 million of them, and uh, but how that came to be is the unique story. But the whole time I was drinking throughout the entire time, and it was just total fucking chaos. But yeah, that would be the story.
Those PCR tests?
No, a COVID testing kit. So like, if you ever got one of those things stuck up your nose when you were at
Nope. I refused.
you refused to get tested.
I never got tested. I'm not good. No one's sticking anything up any of my orifices without a severe ass whooping.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm one of those weirdos that figured it out within the first week that this is all bullshit.
Oh, okay. So you're a conspiracy theorist. I love that.
If that's or conspiracy realist. I mean, it's all over the news now that we were right.
Yeah, it is.
The author of Dilbert just came out, and I forgot his name. The guy who created that little cartoon Dilbert, he's
Yeah.
about to die of cancer, saying, and I'm not bashing the guy, but he said, "Y'all won. Y'all are right. Y'all are proven right on this one. Unequivocally, we were all proven correct."
Oh shit.
Yeah, I never fell for that. I knew that was BS from day one. Well, I say that about day 6 or 7. Not a whole week went by. At first, I was like, "What in the hell is going on?" I was on one of my very last drilling rig jobs in southeastern New Mexico. And all of a sudden, all this shit came on the radio. My phone's blowing up. There's all this shutdown, lockdown, mask, blah, blah, blah. And I walk into the pusher's house and I turn like this, and he's got this temperature gun up to my head. And I turned and I slapped it out of his head, out of his hand. I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" He goes, "Hey, he's getting my temperature." And I was like, "For what?" I had no idea.
If you're 100, you got to go home, man.
Yeah, and so I'm out 100 miles out in the middle of nowhere when it first happened. So I didn't know what was going on, and it was kind of freaking me out. And then I saw the news like everybody else. I'm like, "What?" And for about a week, I was suspicious, but after about a week, I was like, "This is BS. This is fake, fake, fake. All of this is fake." That's what I thought. And I got banned routinely. I caught 30-day ban after 30-day ban after 30-day ban on Facebook. If you dared question the official narrative. So anyway, well, that's your success story by luck. What's the other half?
I mean, I can't tell you that it was fake necessarily, because like a lot of people did, it took a lot of lives, but I mean, so does the flu every year.
Yeah, and then suddenly the flu just magically disappeared for like a whole year.
Yeah, we haven't heard about the flu lately, have we?
No one had the flu, like, at all. I remember I was still working at the Caterpillar dealership. It was right after 9/11. And I remember my very first, I mean, the internet was brand new. We just saw the towers. And I don't even know if video was available, but we had just gotten the internet at work. And I remember reading an article that it had to have been 2000 into 1 or 2. And it said something like, I don't remember, 60,000 people died that year of flu. And I thought, that's oddly high. And of course, I was really naive back then, like really, I believed everything. But even then, I was like, I've had the flu. I get the flu every year like everybody else. But I don't know anybody that died, but 60,000, that seemed kind of high. And then fast forward to COVIDs and 2023, when virtually nobody had it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You couldn't even get the flu, man. There was so much COVID going around.
Well, and ironically, I quit drinking August 21st of 2020 when the whole world was getting splacked and hammered. I decided to quit. And a year later, after that, year and a half, I decided to get in the gym. And now that I only eat about 20 basic ingredients, that's literally all I eat. The same 20 basic ingredients, and I work out and I get my heart rate up every single day. I never get sick.
So pandemic made you quit drinking, and it made me start drinking. Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yep. Yeah. If I didn't quit then, if I kept up the increasing the pace, kind of like the federal government's deficit, the natural increase year over year of more and more and more and more and more, I firmly believe I would have been dead a couple of 3 years ago.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But
I'm glad you're not, man. I mean, now you're just making a show and chatting with me, so that's great.
Yeah. Well, how'd you find my channel? Did you go through a divorce?
I hit live, and I just felt like talking to somebody this evening.
Oh, so have you ever subscribed? Do you have any idea what my channel's about?
I don't know what your channel's about. Are you asking me if I've like watched channels or like?
No, I'm just curious how you found my channel. Most people find it from the Parker movie, but
okay, so like I hit live. I went and hit the live button, and you were like the one that had the fewest, or not the fewest viewers, but like the most chance.
Oh,
I just wanted to talk to somebody, so I was like, all right, well, this one.
Well, okay. Now I'm curious. You had no idea what my channel's about, and as you can see, hardly anybody comes on my lives here. I don't know why, but I've got 500,000 subscribers. But as you can see, there's like 19 people in here watching live at the moment.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard or seen the video of that 14-year-old boy sitting in his dad's truck and his ex-wife, the kid's mother, just haggling him over and over and over for over an hour to try to get him out of the truck?
Can't say that I have, sir.
Okay, well, that question works about half the people that I asked that to have seen it, and the other half have not. So that was my son. That's the only reason my channel has the number of subscribers it's got, is because
Oh
I've got.
wait, so you call like a oh damn, so you went viral and now you have a channel where you're covering something.
Yeah, people. I don't know if you saw in the chat, people are always asking, "How's Parker? How's Parker?" And I just kind of fluff it off, like, because in the old days, how's Parker? That was a big question, because that was a big deal in my life, because I got put in jail for 60 days for being a good dad because of what happened in that video of mine that is to this day still
Wait,
going viral.
wait. Now you got to stop and tell me. So you got put in jail for being a good dad. I'm going to
Literally.
stop you right there. I need to know that story.
Yeah, literally.
You can give me the short version.
Well, the short version is I married a woman in 97. I remarried her, or 96, remarried her in 97. No, married her in 97, remarried her in 98. Total complete narcissist. I know that word's overused, but I've got proof of it. And I was natural born naive person. I made 4 children with her. Those are the only 4 children I've got. We got a really nasty divorce. Fast forward to 2013, my oldest son, Parker, didn't want to get out of my truck. He wanted to live with me, and she wasn't going to have it. I said, son, I have no choice, according to the papers. I have no choice but to take you to your mother's house. It doesn't say I have to kick you out, and I won't, because I'm just not like that. But if you decide to get out, I understand. If you decide to stay in, I understand. I can't get involved, but what I can do is record. And so I just sat there with my iPhone 4 for 72 minutes.
And he kept up with his he followed his rights.
Yeah, stood up for his rights. Yes.
Yeah.
So you have seen it.
Now that you say that, yeah, I definitely have. I have definitely seen that. Yeah.
Okay, well, that was my son. You're talking the guy, the cameraman. I was the one that held the camera up for 72 minutes, and that's my ex-wife and simp daddy douche canoe simp dad in her hip pocket.
Oh, you know what, man? I mean, that's great. I think that, I mean, me personally, the fact that you have such a well-educated son, whether right or wrong, doesn't even fucking matter. The fact that you have somebody with the balls to stand up and say shit and like follow through with it, it's fantastic, man.
Well, thanks.
And we can't raise kids like that every day. I mean, most of them would hunker down, follow whatever's said to them. But you know what, man? You did a good job with that shit, man. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But to answer your question, that's what I went to jail for. 60 days for that incident that you saw.
Did you really do hard time like that? I mean, did you get a tattoo or anything?
Well, no, it was a county jail, but I've never been to like prison, like a state prison or a federal penitentiary. But the guys I was in jail with in the extra county jail, they said a lot of them said that they've been in big jails that were far easier than that county jail.
I see. Yeah. So, man, if it was me, dude, I would have took the time to get a prison tattoo, like something.
No. I did get the book 1984 mailed to me, and I got
George Orwell.
George Orwell and the farm,
Animal Farm.
Animal Farm.
Yes, sir.
And I've still got all those books where if you get a book mailed to you, they take a rubber stamp and they stamp not the binder, but the opposite side of the binder of Ector County Jail. I've still got my books where I read Animal Farm. Actually, I couldn't complete. I had to quit reading Animal Farm. I got so depressed.
Why didn't you like Animal Farm? Out of curiosity, because that's actually my favorite book of all time.
Well, I've been meaning, that was 10 years ago that I was sitting in a jail that was about 55 degrees, literally rotting and pissed off.
85.
I was pissed off that my kids didn't get to have a dad. I was put in there. The state said I was such a horrible dad that I deserved jail. To that point, I had never in my life missed a visitation with my own children until the state put me in jail for being a good dad. Then I missed. My kids had to go 60 days without me being involved in their lives. Not to mention it ruined me financially, and I still haven't recovered.
Well, I would think that it would have ruined you financially, but could your kids not see or talk to you every day? I don't understand that part.
No, that's the only reason I am even to this day familiar with Snapchat. Back then, Snapchat, I'd never heard of it, but the kids found it because I don't know if it still works this way. Your messages disappear. They kept getting their phones confiscated, and they would read. Oh, Holly, to answer your question, it's Notorious Dad. That was my jail name. I didn't get a tattoo, but I did get a moniker, and they called me the Notorious Dad.
Am I reading this wrong, or does all of your chat say, Caleb, shut the fuck up, you liberal, gay ass Trump supporter? Am I reading this wrong, or is this like 100
Okay, the 150 in the private chat. Yeah, I think a troll is hating on me, and they've been trying to get in. They changed their profile picture to you and called themselves your name, and they keep getting in and getting out, and I guess they're mad at me because I'm not going to get on. I'm not going to let them on because I'm not going to let them on.
Yeah, it's actually not me. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I could tell it was somebody else, and he's got like 150, literally 150 messages in the private chat, and I'm just gonna piss him off by not just completely ignoring him. And
okay, yeah, that's fine. We can continue on with completely normal. I was just making sure that it wasn't me because I don't have like a ghostwriter.
Oh yeah, okay. I clicked on private chat. Caleb, shut the fuck up, you fucking liberal gay ass Trump supporter. I mean, he's got it in there 150 times. Like I'm scrolling. It's still there.
Yeah. That's tough.
Hey, troll. If you'll put that same thing in the chat, I'll put your name up there and I'll scroll it across there for you. If that'll make you feel better. Let me get back over to normal chats.
Yeah. What is the normal chat saying? I mean, I don't know, man. I'd like to answer any question you have or ask you a bunch of questions, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, go right ahead. This is kind of interesting since you had no idea what my channel's about. You hopped on, you didn't know who I was, and then come to find out you have seen it. So yeah, knock yourself out. Ask away. If your question is how's Parker relationship with his mother, I'm not going to answer it. I will say that I don't talk about their private lives now, but if anything you've got in the past, yeah, go ahead.
What do you do for a living?
I was until COVID's hit. I was a Caterpillar diesel engine field service mechanic in the West Texas oil field.
So I have an interesting story about that. So, the first person that ever put a GPS machine on a Caterpillar device was the guy that started the company that I worked for. But he created a GPS unit that could figure out where they needed to dig and what have you. His last name is Baglin. But he's from St. Louis. But yeah, that's interesting.
That was a piece of Caterpillar equipment.
Yeah, and he figured out a way to put GPS onto it for underneath ground, so that you could see where to dig to get to the best.
Oh, like a miner.
Yeah.
What I worked on was
like a miner, but not like a Chris Hansen miner, like a under the ground guy with
mineral miner.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, I worked on the oil rigs. Like, have you seen that new TV show called Landman with Billy Bob Thornton in it.
Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah, I definitely have. Yeah.
Okay, that TV show is made about my hometown where the Parker movie happened. That's the second TV show or movie that Billy Bob has made about my hometown of Odessa. The first being an actual movie, not a TV series, but it was a movie called Friday Night Lights, and that was about about Permian football, which is my high school that I went to, which is weirdly enough, Simp Daddy.
You're in deep Texas then, right?
Oh, I was, but I'm not now. I'm in Nevada at the moment, but I'll never go back to Texas. I hate that place.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you watch the Parker movie, notice that Simp Daddy that looks like what's it? Oh, somebody Peter Griffin. He's wearing a Permian football shirt and Mojo Football or whatever, Permian football, and that was the other TV show that Billy Bob thing. But anyway, I was a Caterpillar mechanic. They used not machines, but the Caterpillar diesel engine itself that propelled the drill string and the rotary table that drilled the holes in West Texas for the oil. That I repaired those as a field guy for 25 years. That's how I got my start. Now I'm just a broke retired activist that one thing led to another. COVID's hit. I got out of the oil field. It was shut down for a whole year. I lived on a sailboat for a couple of years. Finished raising my kids. They're finally officially all grown and off daddy's teat.
Right on.
Now at age 48, I'm broke as shit, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Well, yeah, these are all good questions.
So if you've got work, I don't know that I have the heart to sell COVID's strips, test kits, but I might if I get hungry enough.
So I mean, I think your hate is like wrong towards me because like I didn't sell the fucking poke. I'm
kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
That's what I was doing. I was kidding. I sold the kits.
Okay, I like puns too.
Yeah, I sold the fucking kits so that you knew if you had it or not. I didn't tell you whether you needed to do something about it or not.
Yeah. Well, I know. I knew some guys that sold masks, and I don't blame you. I mean, everybody had to make a living somehow. I mean, I get it, but
yeah, mask and what I did was completely different. Just so you know.
Yeah, well, the only thing about tests that I knew was the PCR test, and then they went to those nasal tests, and then videos started coming out of the Chinese ramming tests up people's assholes in airports, and I thought, if y'all can't figure it out by now that this is bullshit, I don't know what to tell you. But there was video of people bending over and letting someone sodomize them because apparently getting a cheek swab wasn't good enough. Getting a nose swab all the way up to your brain where the blood-brain barrier is, that wasn't good enough. They had to jam it up their assholes.
Yeah, I think we cut off right at the anal invasions.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. We were like, we're good with the fucking swabs and what have you.
I couldn't sell anal swabs. I'm not Rabbi Shmuley selling dildos. I couldn't do it.
I think your channel's gonna be canceled just off like those last two statements. But
yeah. Probably, and that's probably why I need to get off here because it's been an hour and 20 minutes, and I normally don't go over an hour because my voice starts going out, and I do get a little carried away sometimes, which is all the more reason why I normally don't
really
talk politics.
Though. You really have. I mean, you should have heard the shit that like me and four other dudes and Chris Hansen talked about one night. Like, you're not getting chopped off for fucking what we've talked about. So I promise you that.
Is your video of Chris Hansen still up?
Dude, yeah. I mean, it's do you want me to say the name of the channel or?
Oh, I don't care. I mean, my curiosity is A, I might go watch it, and B, if you were getting, I won't say vulgar, but very descriptive, like we've gotten the last few minutes, and it's still up, then that's actually encouraging for me because that
Yeah.
lets me gauge what I can get away with and what I can't.
Okay, so the guy that I did the show with, the channel's called The Lab. And if you just did The Lab Chris Hansen, which spell it correctly, Hansen, not SON. It's HENSEN, Chris Hansen. And you'll get the guy from, To Catch a Predator or whatever. And I had another YouTuber on there with us. His name is Rich. He's from Animal Reacts. He does his own shows every night. He's covering the Karen Reed trial right now. But yeah, in any case, you said I could say the channel, so that's what the channels are.
It doesn't bother me. Like I said, as you can very well see, it's not like I'm losing a couple thousand or viewers just because you mentioned a channel.
Truth. Yeah.
I get on here and go live, and I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to talk about other things, but anybody that watches this channel, or most everybody besides you, they're here. All they want to see, they ask me the same question: How's Parker? How's Parker? What's Parker's relationship with his mom? How's Parker now? What's Parker's favorite position? I mean, they ask all these intrusive questions. Like, I'm not talking about it anymore because I get accused of exploiting my cheerings, and that was never my intention. I could easily get on here and sell tickets to do an interview with Parker, or give the inside scoop on what Parker's doing now, who's Parker dating now. But I never was in this for the money. I was in this because these assholes stole my children, and they put me in jail for it, and they ruined my life because of it. That's why my channel's here.
So really, like, your channel kind of exists because, like, you had a kid that got famous by saying something. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only reason my channel exists.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Or at least to this degree.
So if you had to call it your channel, and let's say you got, I don't know, 15,000 subscribers or something, and you wanted to make a point about something, and what would you talk about?
Well, I enjoy talking about stuff like this, but I'm in uncharted. For me, this is uncharted territory. I don't know if I can talk politics. I don't know if I can give my true opinion on what I think of everything that's going on, because I've seen other channels that get completely banned. There's a certain country in the world you can't talk about. There's several groups of people in the world you just can't criticize, because if you do, you're labeled as hate speech and that sort of stuff. And I would rather my channel, I'm monetized, and what little I get paid from it is what's paying my bills at the moment. And B, I still to this day get emails and messages from people who have literally grown up watching my channel, having experienced the same thing as my son Parker did, and then later his little brother Blaine did. They grew up watching it. They got inspired by it, and they implemented their own plans with their preferred parent on how to get out of their own similar situation. And I get a lot of personal satisfaction from that.
I'm surprised you're monetized. Like, that is fucking. That's hard to do in the first place.
Well, back in 2013, it wasn't hard. Back in 20,
Uh,
that's when I've had the channel since 08, but it didn't go viral until that viral video. And the restrictions back then were like real low. The level of the barrier of entry, it was real low. That's why a lot of young adults now that hate me, like feminists, they say what you did was all fake and rigged. I'm like, we didn't. That wasn't how it was back then. It is now. You've got everything's fake now. Everything's, it's just fake. It's skits. It's mostly, not everything, but most of what you see is just skits.
Especially TikTok stuff, whatever. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I think you could, if you got enough of a following, man, you can pick a direction. You could pick anything, man. Like, true crime's pretty obvious. Like, a lot of people do that.
What about pick what now?
You could pick a direction. Like true crime, for example, is like.
True crime. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very easy one. Or You could go with something popular like the new TikToks or whatever. That's how you came up, right? Like just the one hit wonders of the world or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, you could do something like that. I mean, shit. I think that'd be cool. But
Well,
you,
like I said, when I go live, out of the 500,000 subscribers I've got, it only lets about 20 or 30 or 40 people know. If it would let everybody know, like I just don't know how to get there. A couple years ago, I started a formal podcast like this where I would talk at a certain time at a certain on Monday through Saturday every single day, but I got a little bit of traction, but it was just barely enough to pay for the podcast equipment that I bought, and it just wasn't worth it. But if I could get just 1% of my entire subscribership watching, yeah, I'd do this every day in a heartbeat.
well, what has your son told you of like the one that's in the video or whatever?
Well, he doesn't have social media. He doesn't want anything to do with any of it. He just doesn't like it. He understands my position. I shut down my whole life and lost everything saving his ass and his little brothers.
Hmm.
But oh, he doesn't like social media at all. He doesn't have I think he just now made a TikTok, and that's only because he's a horse trainer and he uses it to promote his quarter horses that he breaks.
He should look into Nikola Jovic.
Say it again.
Oh, he should look into Nikola Jovic.
I don't know who that is.
That's the best basketball player in the entire world.
I don't follow sports.
Oh, well.
So
So that would be like you saying, I don't know who Michael Jordan is.
okay. Well, the last famous best basketball player I remember was Scottie Pippen, and he's a Bitcoiner, so I know who he is. And then I know who Kobe Bryant is just because he got offed in that helicopter accident. Outside of that, I don't
He
follow
got
sports.
he got off. So you're a conspiracy theorist on how he died too?
Oh yeah, and nothing is
Okay.
nothing is a coincidence. Nothing. I mean, don't even get me started on JFK.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that's a good direction to take on it. But yeah, Nikola is the best basketball player probably that you may or may not ever witness. But he's the best basketball player of all time in our time frame.
I'll
And
just have to take your word for it.
that'll probably run. He can do weird shit. So probably through like 2070, he's gonna be the best basketball player you've ever met or seen.
I'll just have to take your word for it. The only professional sports person I've ever kept up with for any significant amount of time is Mike Tyson.
Mm,
Because Mike Tyson is just a legend. I played Mike Tyson Punch Out. I learned to
yep.
beat Mike Tyson's Punch Out way back in the day.
Yep.
And the only reason I like Mike is he's real eccentric like me, probably a little autistic like me. And yeah, he's had trainers and he's had cuss and he's had sponsors. But when it comes down to it, what I like about boxing, and I don't follow boxing closely. I might start now, but back in the day, I was raising kids. I didn't have time to watch any of that crap.
Sure.
But what I like about boxing, when it comes down to it, outside of sponsorships and trainers and coaches and all that crap, it's one man versus one man.
Yeah.
And you either have your shit together and pummel the other guy or you don't. I don't like this whole team sports stuff. It drives me nuts because Simp Daddy in the Parker movie, the one wearing the Permian football that looks like Peter Griffin, he was a lineman for Permian. And then he was a lineman for Texas Tech. And as soon as she started banging him and they got married and blah, 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 they pushed that crap on my kids on purpose in order for their practices and their games to interfere with my visitation since I was reduced to a mere visitor to my own effing children. And I've always resented that. And
I bet.
so
Fuck.
that's
I
why
do
I don't
too right
like
now.
professional sports is because they're the way they push it on my kids. You have to go to football practice because it's team sport. It's team spirit. if you're in it to win it. They get all this crap in my kids' heads, and I just didn't like it. And so I just started boycotting sports ball. That's why I call it sports ball.
Oh, gotcha.
But, if sports is your thing, that's fine. I see how it keeps kids out of trouble, and I see why people enjoy it. I just don't enjoy it. But
Caleb,
I
can
do.
I ask you a question before I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or actually, a couple questions. So, like, you just said something to me that kind of it didn't strike a nerve. It actually just struck like a form of conversation, which is like you don't get your kids. I don't get my kids just because I my only option is court ordered and I have to throw money at it, right? And I get the weekends and that's about it. But like, why wouldn't you get your kids, man? You seem like a dude with his head on his shoulders.
Because I was married to a narcissist. And the way the system is set up, it is incentivizing the system incentivizes women to get married and or have children and then divorce, so that each state's attorney general collects child support via the Title 4D of the Social Security Act of 1975.
Holy shit! Now we're getting somewhere. Let's go, man.
The Title 4D of the Social Security Act was passed in 1975. It is a law that mandates that all states' attorneys general of all 50 states have in place a formal arm of collecting child support. And when I do say child support, I'm not justifying the actual deadbeat dads that don't give a shit about their kids. Screw
Fair.
those guys.
Yeah,
I'm
look,
talking about child support, meaning nails and eyelashes and all her bullshit that has nothing to do with taking care of the children. Anyway,
wait. You say that again. So like, you're insinuating that like child support is going towards nails and eyelashes and bullshit.
duh.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm with you, but like, tell me more about that.
Okay, well, what Title 4D is, not only does it mandate that the Attorney General hire an arm or a crew of people to collect child support, it offers them an incentive. In other words, put simply, let's take Texas for the state of as an example. Texas, if you will hire X number of people and pull in X number of dollars from these deadbeat dads, we will reimburse you 66 cents on the dollar and pay in the form of a salary reimbursement for your employees. And that's what they do. So for every dollar that the state of Texas or the state of Michigan or Hawaii or Alaska or pick your favorite state.
Can you say North Carolina? That's where I'm at.
Yeah, North Carolina, all of them, every single one of them.
The same thing happens in North Carolina.
Yes, it's called Title 4D, and no influencers will ever talk about it. If you watch, I went live earlier and I talked about this same thing. If you watch Fresh and Fit podcast with Myron Gaines, if you watch the whatever podcast with Brian, whatever his name is, I don't know, Pearl Davis with Andrew Tate, they've made a name for themselves talking about the hookup culture, the divorce culture, the single mom culture. And yeah, they give some good ideas. Stop drinking, get your shit together, focus on yourself, stop being a simp, stop subscribing to OF, quit giving your money to these prostitutes. Focus on yourself and make yourself a stronger person. And that's how, and there is some good to be had from that. But my problem with that grift is they never address the root problem, which is Title 4D funded family courts.
Okay, so tell me about that Title 4D funded family courts.
That's what I've been telling you. Title 4D of the Social Security Act was passed in 1975 that mandated every attorney general of every state have a branch of their state government that collects child support. If you don't have a pool from which to extract child support, meaning an intact family, a mom and a dad living happily ever after, They can't, just because they get mad at the other one because one of them does something stupid, they can't just divorce for no reason at all. Then you can't pull money out of that. If you incentivize women, say, without, they don't say it directly, but everybody knows, you're a sports guy. How many of these sports idiots marry these floozies, for a, just to use a PG word, marry these floozies only to get knocked up by them and take them to the cleaners and take them for all they're worth? It's because of Title IV defunded family courts. Every woman nowadays inherently knows if she gets knocked up and all she has to do is cry grape or cry foul or whine to the court, they don't really have to do anything. The court will go after them on their behalf. They don't have skin in the game. They'll automatically, I'm going to put his ass on child support. I'm going to put his ass on child support. And that's what they do. So the Title 4D is an incentive program. Hey, states, collect child support, we'll reimburse you. States are like, hey, ladies, you get knocked up, have no fear. We'll go after that deadbeat dad, and we'll put out story after story after story about how men ain't shit and men don't want to be men anymore. And to a certain degree, women do have a legitimate gripe about men not being men. And I do give them that, but I'm real hard on women and their poor choices. And I get called a misogynist frequently for pointing out the obvious, but it's true.
This is just a general question, like maybe from like just man to man, but like, do women have to pay taxes on the child support that they're given?
Nope. That's part of Title IV. I'm glad. That's a good question. If you involve your divorce with the state and get child support involved, the payee the payor, I mean, usually the dad, not always, but usually the dad, who is usually traditionally, think about 1975, that's who the breadwinner was. And 99% of all divorced household was the man. If you're the guy who pays child support, not only do you not get to write it off on your taxes, but she does. And I just don't see how that's fair, like at all.
Well, that doesn't make sense. So who's winning with that?
The single moms, they get to do whatever they want, bang whoever they want, get knocked up by whoever they want. And they always have the state suing that deadbeat dad going to court. They track them down, like with me. That's why I don't have a normal job, is because I got so far behind on my child support. It got so screwed up that any job I go get, after they take out normal withholding, Social Security, income tax, what little's left, the state just took it all. I had no paycheck.
Okay, so there's always two sides to a debate. So I want to understand the other side right now, because right now I am feeling like, why the fuck am I paying child support with no tax? Nothing involved in me, because I am like, I pay like a lot. I pay $1,500 a month in child support, and I get no tax consideration for that. What does the other side say about that?
Well, I guess you'd have to ask them.
No, I mean just in general though. Like, why doesn't the other side pay taxes on what I give them? If I have to pay taxes before I give them
Right.
$1,500.
Yes.
They don't have to pay taxes after they receive the
I don't know why it's like that, outside of that's what Title 4D mandates within the income tax code, IRS code. I don't know why it's like that. I just know that is what it is.
Huh.
That's my beef with these grifters that are always talking about the blatantly obvious. There is a single motherhood problem. There's women raising young boys into men that don't know how to teach a young man to properly use testosterone. They grow up to be asshole, violent, worthless douche canoes themselves. And inevitably, for whatever reason, women just pull their panties off for them. I don't know why, but they do.
You just targeted young boys turning into men that are douche canoes. Why? I mean, you didn't target anything about like young girls that didn't have fathers? Like, why did you
Oh,
go straight?
all the more reason. If you, yeah, I can go that route too. How many divorced mothers do you know had a prominent father figure in their life growing up? Parents are still together. Dad stayed on her ass all the time, made sure she was, up on the up and up. How many do you know?
I mean,
Versus how many single moms do you know don't even know who their dad is?
well, I mean, fuck. I mean, when you put it like that, I mean, it's very difficult to. Uh, shit, man. I don't know. Not a ton.
And when I point out the obvious, I get accused of being a misogynist, which I don't think I am. But asking a woman to properly raise a boy to be a well-adjusted young man who is fully in control of his emotions and doesn't just break down and beat
Yeah,
stuff up and cry
I
and beat up other
yeah,
women,
be a real man.
they don't have the ability any more than that's like asking me. That's like a girl asking me, Mr. Leverett, how do I deal with my new period I just got? Like, how the
Uh,
hell would I know?
shit, yeah.
I don't know how to, I have no clue what it's like to have a period because I never had one. I'm not a woman. That's what mothers are for. That's why you ask your mom those things. I don't know how to do it. I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, if a mother dies when the child is young and bless the the widow's dad's heart, he's going to do the best he can, but he doesn't know what it's like because he's not a dude. He's a dude. He's not a woman.
So what you're suggesting is like the fact that we churn out boys that are willing to step up and be men or change flat tires or take accountability, um, that they should cost less during the child support phase, or is that what?
Mm, no, I'm not quite following you.
I guess I'm asking is like a daughter, should a daughter be cheaper during child support than a boy soon to be man?
No, my whole point is when we divorced, I divorced her. I did not divorce my children.
All right.
I wanted,
Yeah.
I
Dude,
wanted
I
50,
love that statement. That's beautiful.
I wanted 50-50 parenting. The kids
Yep.
stay with me 50% of the time. They stay
Yep.
with her 50% of the time. When they're with me, I paid for them. I didn't want to pay her shit. When they're with her, she paid for them. She didn't have to pay me shit. In my opinion, for the most part, now I know there's certain exceptions, and every time I bring this up, women in general, a lot of them just lose their minds. They can't imagine a world without child support. But if you can't bring a child into this world without having someone else pay for it, why would you have children in the first place? I wanted my children with me. I wanted to raise my boys the way I wanted them raised, not the way she wanted them raised, or certainly not her new husband. When they're with me, I'm perfectly willing and able. That is supporting my children. Not only did I pick them up from school and drop them off at school the next Monday morning on my weekends, they're with me. I was spending money and I was spending time. That is supporting my children. This whole idea of child support, the term child support has become like its own currency. There's dollars, there's yen, there's Bitcoin, there's pounds, there's euros, and there's child support. It's like it's its own current. That's how people they think of it as a currency. I think oh, I lost Girth. Oh well. Whew. Girth, thanks, man. Thanks for calling in. That was interesting. I enjoyed that. I am losing my voice though, and there's been some people chatting in here, and I have a one-track mind. I can't really talk about one thing and read another conversation. I know some people can, but I can't. Holly Nash, I guess it comes down to whether or not you have kids with a decent human. Yes. Yes. Everybody has a choice for the most part on who they decide to procreate with. Max and I shared kids. Sometimes I had to help him pay bills. And for that, Holly, as a mother, I am thankful for that. I get it. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. But if it doesn't work out, that between the mom and the dad, I'm not saying it's a good idea to divorce, but if you have to, you have to work with the other parent. And if just because they're struggling or you don't like every little thing they do, doesn't mean you have to have your ex thrown in jail. To give them the money. The mom looks like the hero buying the stuff all the time while you are broke. Yeah, and that if you remember, if you recall Tori in the Parker movie, she said, you and dad, you and your brothers-in-law and Parker get to go off and do fun Disneyland time. From her perspective, I was a Disneyland dad. I've always resented that. There you go. Hey, Tori, if you know how to make a shit coin, just make a new shit coin called child support coin, and we'll rug everybody and live happily ever after. Live the true American dream. Hello, Hurricane Girl. The same people aren't decent human, or some people aren't decent human beings. Shouldn't be having kids. Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, it seems like here lately, with all the subsidies in the United States, the dregs of society are the ones that are most proficiently at having cheerings. Well, Girth, I'm out, dude. I'm about to turn this off because I'm about to lose my voice. I just want to read some of my comments here. My kids, especially daughters, but thank you, Girth, for calling in. Enjoy the chat. Especially daughters will never depend on anyone. That is an actual shame. I do see why you would teach your daughters not to trust a man because of what men have become. In my opinion, I get called a misogynist a lot because I do criticize the behavior of women, but I try to also be fair. And that's what I alluded that with Girth earlier. I do get on to men when women come to when they start griping about their complaints of men. We can't find any decent men. They're all overweight and alcoholics and they've got mama issues. They're actually right. I agree with the vast majority of women that have that complaint. They're exactly correct. That is why I constantly harp on how awful of behavior it is for men, young men or old, doesn't matter, to stay drunk, how harmful it is to be obese and overeat and not eat enough protein and not stay in shape. Because if you poison your mind with alcohol and junk food and pornography constantly, you're going to make bad decisions. And a young boy growing to be a man, that's all he's ever been taught was dad was a drunk or a non-existent. Mom might have been a drunk too. Mom had lots of men in and out of the house. They're always drinking and partying. They don't know how to grow up and treat women properly. That's my big. So on one hand, Holly, I see why you would teach your daughter not to depend on any man, because let's look at the quality of men that are being turned out. They're all raised by single moms. And as hard as I know a lot of single moms try really hard. And I know what it's like to get grouped in with, deadbeat dads. And I don't obviously mean all single moms are all bad. Sometimes I get it. Bad things happen, but the overwhelming majority of the time, I think, is outside of the graping that I'll just say that happens. Women choose who is going to get inside them and make them pregnant. And here lately, for whatever reason, these bad boys, they look so appealing at the time, but when it comes down to being a responsible father, they're just shocked that they won't show up for their kids, and they just shocked that they're always broke and they're always drunk. Well, why would you date someone like that in the first place? That's a good idea, Holly. I don't depend on anyone other than myself, and I'm happy about that. Again, I don't blame you, man, or won't, man. Sorry, that's my brain going crazy. I don't blame you, because I see that there are loads of irresponsible, horrible men that do horrible things. That's why I harp on men all the time. Stay away from the OFs. Quit funding that. Quit poisoning your mind. Stay away from the booze. This society just constantly promote. Just everywhere you look, there's drinking everywhere. Literally everywhere. It's on every street corner. It's in every movie. Listen, next time you go into a public area and they've got the radio going, listen to the lyrics of the song. I promise you 9 out of 10 songs are glorifying some kind of alcohol. That is predictive programming. They know, the powers that be know that the dumber they can keep the populace, the easier they are to control. The more stupid laws that could restrict our freedoms, they know for a fact, if you keep them fat, dumb, and stupid, they won't revolt. Like that old saying goes, give them bread and circuses and they'll never revolt. The same thing applies. Good show. I'll come back and chat. Find me. Okay, good deal, man. Enjoyed it. Holly, they will be able to provide for themselves. Their partners should provide the best they can as well. Well, again, that is a good short. Just, I hope you don't encourage your daughters to get on OF, because that's, in my opinion, a horrible way. I'm not saying you are, and you probably don't, but unfortunately, that's how a lot of girls get their money. And if they don't have direct OF, they've got sugar daddies, because sugar daddy culture is a real thing, unfortunately. Then again, that's part of this sick society we're in, where inflation is through the roof and unemployment, they say it's low, but we all know those numbers are BS. The price of an average medium income or mean average house these days, like $438,000. It's gone up like 3 or 4 fold compared to the average income. I see why a lot of these girls take to prostitution. It's literally called the oldest profession in the world for a reason, because if it doesn't work out with your man, that's what they're left with. And it's really unfortunate. The first dude I've said sugar daddy culture is real. Yeah, it is. I am, and I'm a Republican. Okay. Live for what's okay. Actually, I'm about to get off here because my voice is going. You drink caffeine, Caleb? Yeah. Yeah, I love caffeine. That is one drug that I still like. All right, kiddies. We got way off topic, but that's usually how these longer lives go. Got on here talking about the crazy Trump post and wound up talking about a guy named Girth Brooks. Yeah, just look at 73-year-old Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. Yeah. Do you really think she's marrying that guy who's old enough to be her grandpa because she's in love with him? It couldn't be because he's got millions and millions of dollars. All right, I'm going to pull up that, before I let y'all go, I'm going to pull up the Trump TruthSocial and see if that crazy ReTruth is still up. Okay, Donald Trump. His latest Truth was 45 minutes ago. Great playwright and filmmaker David Mamet just wrote an incredible new book. Blah, blah, blah. Get his book now. It's still there. The one that for those of you just joining, I'll take myself off of here. You can see it. Your president just posted this, and there was reports that it was taken down, but I'm looking at it right now. It now has 11,600 hearts or likes. I'm just quoting what the president, for the YouTube censors, I'm merely quoting what the sitting president said. There is no hashtag Joe Biden. Oft in 2020, Biden clones, doubles, and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what you see. Democrats don't know the difference. That's just that is just wild to me. Because again, what does that imply? That implies that Who was if Joe Biden was not alive post 2020? Who ran the country for 4 years? Who had their I don't know who that is. Who had their finger on the big red button for 4 years if it wasn't Joe Biden? Not saying that, he's a great person. Not even saying Trump's the right person to have their finger on it, but at least we know who it is. If it were to happen, if there was some kind of nuclear fallout, we know who had their finger on the big red button. But who had their finger on the big red button during the Biden presidency? I don't know. I'm so glad to hear that. Being feminine and is a characteristic of a woman is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Being a modern day feminist, in my opinion, is what do you do every day? Who knows, man? Bots apparently ran the country. I guess so. What do you do for a living? I get on YouTube. Why, what's the big, or is there a conspiracy going on here? First Lady's advisor and so-called generals. Oh, as far as who ran the country? Yeah, maybe she did. I don't know. I was a mechanic, man. I was a field mechanic for 25 years. I'm too old to do it. My back hurts. Now I just get on YouTube. There's lots of things I want to do, but until my investment, I guess you could say I'm an investment trader in cryptocurrencies, if that's what you want to call a profession. But until my investment actually grows, and it just keeps being delayed, ask any crypto head, and we've not seen an alt. And they'll all tell you we have not seen an alt season, and we're all just waiting on alt season. Kamala ran shit. No way that skeleton was running anything. Yeah, she's a boozer. Yeah, she is a total alky. She's just as bad as Nancy Pelosi. Nancy's getting bad. Have y'all seen her lately? Oh, really? David Hogg admitted who was running things in that O'Keefe video. I didn't know. James O'Keefe interviewed David Hogg. I didn't know that. I have a challenge that I dare you to do. I dare you to run all the way to the coldest place. I ran in Wyoming all winter long. Doesn't scare me. -30. I loved it. I'm sure there are many involved. Oh, with the cover up? I don't know. I'm a gay guy and I can't stand modern feminism. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, well, O'Keefe, that's pretty much that's his MO. But no, I haven't seen it. Is that recent? I'll have to go look that up. David Hogg's one of those little twits that I absolutely cannot stand. I might need some mental health. People do question my mental health sometimes. What a number the Biden co did in this country. Yeah, we all had to live through COVID. I know that Jesus tells me that I need to get the resentment out of my heart, and I'm working on it, but I have no idea what that means. All right, kiddies, we are for real coming up of like 30 seconds until the 2-hour mark, and this is a lot for me, especially consider um, I already went live for like 40 minutes earlier today. And you're not even a Trump fan, are you, Caleb? No, no. I mean, I like some things. Donald Trump released Ross Ulbricht. He campaigned on releasing Ross Ulbricht. That was the only reason, or the biggest, by far, the biggest reason I supported Donald Trump, for that very reason, because I've followed the Ross Ulbricht story since before he even went to prison, with the founder of the Silk Road. And for that, I'll always be grateful, and I don't regret supporting Donald Trump. He's done some other good things that I don't really see any reason to go into, but he released Ross Ulbricht. He campaigned on it. It was a campaign promise, and he fulfilled it. And for that, I am forever grateful. Caleb is a Democrat. Nope. Nice try. I know why scroll some of their backs keep their nuts from getting wet. Okay. All right, kids, we've reached the 2-hour mark, and y'all are getting goofy. I will see y'all in a few days. I don't know when, but enjoyed the conversation. Stay diligent, stay sober, get in shape, keep your heart rate up, because it's it's a nutty, crazy world that we're getting into. I'm going to go get some rest. Y'all take care. Bye.